Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Art Corner. It's springtime and it is beautiful outside today. Wanted to do something not too cheesy, but I wanted to do a little bit of a spring picture, and so we're going to feature a bunny. But I really wanted to show you how to do one little background technique, and we're going to add some pretty flowers. But I want you to watch, and I want to say hey to Frida Boardwine. I want you to watch. I'm going to dedicate this to you, Frida. Enjoy this. And hopefully you can go step by step and do it on your own. This is a large 16 by 20, and I've got it lengthwise so that, or vertical, so that you can, the bunny will be kind of large, and he's going to be hopping away. It's really cute. I did this on my grandson wall here in Bristol, but here we go. I'm going to start with his ear, kind of get him scaled. Now I'm starting from the beginning here, so Brandon will edit for me if we need to, and we might. But let me get his little ear rolling. His little head right here. I brought my eraser. It's been a while since I've done one, but I hope you guys enjoy this. Got my little kneaded eraser. Get rid of some of those extra lines. Okay. Now, put my glasses on. Got a little teeny head, big old bunny ears. One is in and one is out. Cute as he can be. He's actually, I think somebody's coming after him with a shotgun, so he's running off. So he's hightailing it out of the flower garden. The back of his little head. There's a roll like I have. Here's another roll. I want to make him small though. Here's a foot. And mine might be a little squishier than the one I'm looking at, but that's okay. I want to have plenty of room for flowers. That's my goal. Big rabbit foot right here. And I just kind of look at it and eyeball this with, and just kind of, you see how I'm kind of just flipping my pencil everywhere. It's okay, you've got an eraser. You're not getting a tattoo, this is not permanent. So you can just play with it until you get it right. Same way when you're painting, it's just paint. Here's the other foot. It's coming down this way. I think that's what hinders a lot of artists is, oh, what if I mess up? Well, so what if you do mess up? You've got an eraser, you've got more paint, you can paint over it. It's no big deal. That helps you enjoy and lighten up a little bit as you paint. Here's the other little bunny foot right here. And you can see just a little bit of the front. Let me bring this leg over a little more so you can see this front part where he's running off, and here's another part. Bring his little biscuit roll over. These ears are just so cute. We're going to put the little hair in them and everything. But I see some extra lines, so I'm going to get rid of them. Right in here. And we're going to spray these lines so that they stay put as we start adding paint. That's a big bunny, but he is the focal. Here's the bottom of his front paw right here. And here's another one. So he is boogieing that way. Let me bring this around. There we go. Bring this in. Listen, guys, it's harder than you think just to sit here and just create something in about an hour and hope it looks good and talk. But it's fun, and I hope you guys are relaxed when you watch. I've heard I put some of you to sleep. That's a good thing. So watch it before you go to bed, and I'll put you to sleep. I'll put on my Bob Ross voice. How's that? Almost have an afro. Here we go. A little more. Bring his little fat tummy around this way. There's that, there's that, there's that, there's his head. Checking my lines. Okay, I think he's pretty good. I'll change it with paint if I need to. This little tail will be so cute. That goes about right there. maybe a little bigger. Now, one thing that I really want to do on this is show you these flowers. He is running out of a flower bed. Some of these are going to come actually up on top of him like this. So he's been in somebody's garden, and he probably heard something, and he's hightailing it out of there. So here's just a sketch of these flowers. I will actually do more of this with paint. Now, let me make sure. I want him kind of tilted to one side, so let me get rid of some of these lines. Okay. It's pretty good sized canvas. I hope I brought big enough brushes. I think I did. There we go. Now, once you get it sketched where you think everything should go, get your little hairspray. And the cheaper the better. And you want to shake it up, spray those lines, just like this. And that'll help those lines stay put when you start using water. And you might want to just move your canvas, air that, let it dry. It just takes it a few minutes. Better yet, get your palette, fan it, let that dry. That way all that work on sketching won't go completely away. And the next thing you do is what? It's your background. That's what you want to do first. Because if you do your background next, if you do make a mistake, you can always fill in with your background. But if you do your bunny and your grass and all that and you decide, oh, I want a yellow background, too late. I mean, you'd have to redo all of your flowers, your bunny. That's why I always recommend to my art students or whoever that your background needs to be done first. And most artists would agree with that. Now I'm going to make this background. It's kind of a greeny gray blue. So good luck with that. I'm doing a bright blue. I'm doing a pool blue. I'm going to do a little green in here. I'm going to do a little bit of this. This is acrylic, by the way. All this is acrylic today. So we're using water as our blending medium. Acrylic's easy. But now I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes acrylic is a little hateful. And the reason is because if you don't have it dry completely and you start going over it and over it to layer, it'll come up. It'll come up from the bottom. And you can't blend acrylic as well either as you can oil. Last time we did oil, but today I wanted to do just a water-based paint. Now, let me get in my brush collection here. And let's do some blending for a background. I'm using paper plate, styrofoam plate for my palette. I've got green, sienna, white, and blues. And I'm just looking at my art reference here and just kind of making sure it matches. And I think that's it right there. It's kind of a greeny gray. There we go. And I want to do a very light, watery kind of a background. It's spring, and this is supposed to be a light and airy little spring picture. I've been painting bunnies, and they sell a little bit, not that much, but you know what? Seasonally, a lot of people will put pictures out for spring, and they'll put pictures out for Christmas, and so this one you can get him out for springtime. Sit him on an easel, hang him on the wall. My mother does that. Here we go. Remember, with acrylic paint or latex paint, water is your blending medium. Just lightly kind of go around him. I don't want it to be solid. I want it to be a few different colors back here. Make it kind of interesting. You want it wet, but not drippy wet. And I just kind of get my brush and go dab, dab, dab in all three, and then get in this puddle right here, blend them together. I may have to get some more paper towels out. Here we go. Now I'm going to kind of do some interesting background stuff here in a minute. I'm going to kind of flip some splicks of water on here, just to make it kind of interesting. We don't want him boring. Adding some more water. He might actually be a watercolor piece that I'm copying. I'm not sure. There's also other blending mediums you can use for latex paint. There's one they sell at a lot of art stores. It's just a blending medium for watercolor paint, and you can add it to your palette, and it's supposed to help acrylic blend and flow a little better. I'm just an old school person. I'm just a water person, but I've also found that some of those blending mediums can get a little gummy. And the way I leave my paint in my car, and that'd be a real good way for it to get gummy for sure. There we go. Now this doesn't have to be perfect because I'm gonna be flicking on it here in just a minute anyway, but let's get it covered. I see some chunks here. Let's get those out of the way. Adding some more water. We don't want it real thick. I just want it covered. Woo, that was blue. Whoa, baby. Hang on a minute. There we go. That's okay. It's going to be kind of interesting. Now, if you're doing this and you're not planning on framing it, you'll want to go around the edges like this with your paint so that if you hang it on the wall, you won't see a white edge, especially if it's a gallery wrap. And a gallery wrap is a canvas that's about that wide on the edge. This one is not. This is just a standard wrap. But you still want to paint your edges like this. Get those done. Okay. He's looking better. Get rid of your start-stop lines. Right there's one. Right here's one. Not too much blue. And I tell you what, white paint is a good primer. And if things just aren't sticking the way they should, throw some white in there and it'll help things move along. It helps cover. It helps blend. Artists should always have a big black and a big white. There we go. You know, I know you're thinking this is taking a long time, but your background's a big part of this one. The bunny's kind of small, and the flowers won't take me any time at all. But the background is really an important part of this picture. So take your time, do it right. Go. Summer will be here before you know it. Don't know what to do for summer, picture-wise. We'll figure out something. I think I've done beach scenes before. It's because I want to go real bad. Now I'm going to get just a little bit darker down here with my green and brown because we're going to be in the garden down in this area. As a matter of fact, I'm going to squirt just a little bit of black. Be careful where you put it, but that'll darken anything. And we want to get it kind of dark down in that garden, right down here. There we go. Oh, we're dripping. That's all right. Good. Move on. Let's get this. This is taking some time to cover. Here we go. Get the bottom down here. A piece like this would be so cute in a child's room. And if you're a brave soul, you can get a ladder and paint it on a wall in a child's room. That would really be cute. Just use contractor's brushes, big one, and I recommend a Purdy. It's an excellent brush. They're about 30 bucks a piece, but they're worth every dime. Okay, a little more green, a little more black. This is the back of your garden area. Actually, it'll be a little darker than that. Here we go. Getting that black and green down here good. Do I have a bigger brush? Let's see. Nah, this is it. All right. Now, one side of that garden is a little bit more dense than the other. Let me smooth this out good, and we'll start. Let me fine tune it a little bit, and we'll start our little flicking technique. I'm gonna make a mess all over this studio, so I hope Brandon can clean it up for me, or somebody. We'll get it cleaned up before we leave. There we go, no brush strokes. I do see some areas up here that need to have a little bit of fine tuning. Around his ear, right in there. You don't want any start-stop lines. I want to deepen that just a little bit. Now see, this is what I mean by acrylic. If you get up here and let's say it's not dry and you start going over it in layers, it'll come up. My art class people think, oh, I want to do acrylic because it's easy. It's not. It's really kind of hard. Oil can be an easier medium. There we go. Around him just a little bit. I want to make sure he's covered good. Yeah, see there? So let me get that white. There we go. Get that covered. Yeah, acrylic's kind of hateful. There we go. But if you're going to do a mural, I've always done acrylic because, you know, it just dries fast. It doesn't have a smell, and it covers pretty quick. Now, this is what we're going to do. I've got my paint jeans on. I want to get some color, and I want to kind of flick it on the background before I even do my bunny because I don't want to get flicks on my bunny. So I'm trying not to get it too watery because I don't want it to drip. If it does, that's all right. I'll just pick it up. But take your brush and just flick it like this. Get some background. I've got it. Look, I've got it all over my hands. Get some colors. Flick them. There we go. There we go. All over this little bunny right here. Now I'm going to pick it up because I see some of them dripping. That's all right. Get rid of those. Yep. Now, if you do see them dripping, it's no big tragedy. We'll get the white paint and we'll just kind of go over some. See there, look at that acrylic coming up. Right here too, that's okay. We'll flick it again. It's not going to defeat us. We'll just flick it again. Because you don't want the background to be even, totally even on this piece. I want it to be different and flowy, and I want all kinds of things going on back here. There we go. Got some good flicks. Now let me get this covered and I'll start flicking some more. All right. Adding some water to blend all this area. Now this time, check this out. I'm just going to lay it like this. I'm going to lay it kind of like this, maybe not. And I'm just going to kind of flick some of that real quickly. Get some of those on there. I really want some good flickers on here. My hands are going to be a mess. Now, before it messes up, I'm going to turn it just like this. Let it dry. Get my paper plate. Do so it won't run. There we go. This is a good little technique you can learn to paint by. Just do this so they won't run. Wear your paint jeans and not a great outfit. And I recommend that anytime you do a piece of art. Oil will not come off. Acrylic will, but if you're painting in oil and you get it on your clothes, it's gone. There we go. I see this one that's trying to, there we go. I'll work on him. I think the rest of it's going to stay. Now, we'll cover him up with grass. I'm not worried about that. Let's just make sure. But I think the little flicks make it more interesting. Just trying to get those to dry. Now, let me get some of this off my hand, and we'll start our bunny. And if we do have one dripping, I'll just put grass over it. Look here. Welcome to my world. Now, the little bunny is kind of, oh, he's cute. He's kind of a brown. I'll tell you what I'm going to do too. Change palettes, because I don't want to get too much blue on him. He is a dark brown with some, actually, he's got all kinds of color on him. He's got blue and black. So I'm using burnt umber, one of my very favorite. I'm using black. I'm going to use a little bit of pink, just a little bit, pre-mix, because it just takes to, red gets kind of messy. Do a little bit of a pre-mixed pink for the inside of his ear. And let's see, let's do white. Tell you what, if you're an artist and you have a car you really like, make sure you wash your hands before you go in. My car sometimes, my steering wheel, oh, it makes my husband so mad. But I'm ready to go home, and so I get paint on everything. All right, I need a paintbrush that's got kind of a sharper edge so that I can kind of draw. This is a good one. This has got an angle, and it's big enough to cover some space, and you can draw with these angle brushes pretty good. Here we go. Let's get some more paper towels over here too. I don't paint at home either because of this mess. There we go. Now, let's start with his ear. I'm going to kind of outline it in black and brown right up here. And I love to draw with a paintbrush. It's a lot of fun. Get up here close where I can reach him. And just kind of get his ear in there where I can see it. He's got a tiny little knot on his head right there, and then this ear comes around. This one's kind of wrong side out. Get it drawn in there. It's around this way, whoops. Big ears. But he is the Easter Bunny. White and umber together, kind of in the middle of this. And we want it thick enough where we cover our dots, okay? That's where your white comes in. We can use it as a primer. And if you get it, see it goes right away. You don't want to see blue dots. Now, get our black and our umber again. And we want him rich and deep because he is the star of this show. I'm going to squirt just a little bit of sienna out there. And I've got some blue left over on this other palette I'll use too for highlights. There we go. And this is fur, so I'm using this brush, but you can use a fan brush for fur. It's great for animal fur. But he's more of a cartoon than a realistic animal, so I'm just going to kind of use this little brush. Get some all kinds of colors in him. You know what, young mothers out there, I recommend something like this for your child's room. Bunnies are boy and girl. They match any decor. Cute really on a wall even. You don't have to do a canvas. You could do a little bunny mural and it would last a long time. I didn't know the sex of either one of my children, and so I did 2 bunnies on a teeter-totter in their nursery, and one of them was a girl, one of them was a boy, and it lasted a long time. There we go. And they loved it. All right. Sometimes when you have a canvas that's large like this and you're far away, you lose control. So I'm going to move it up just a little bit. There's my pink inside this ear, pink and white. And he is positioned just so that you see the inside of one of these ears. we go. His little head right here. This side of this bunny's kind of dark because the light source is coming this way. One other thing about acrylic that you need to know is it'll fade. So you want to make sure that you get usually the acrylic colors are bright and really bright when you first paint them, and then they can fade. So let it dry and see what kind of intensity that color is going to be. And if you need to add more, it dries quick enough you can add quickly. Acrylic paint should dry within minutes. Whereas oil, it's 3 weeks to even get close to varnishing, or framing should be even longer than that. This ear, the end is black. And it looks all dark and shiny right now, but in a few minutes, that might fade out a little bit, so I may add some more. And then it's dark right up here. That line in there, good. The inside of this ear is pretty dark. We're going to add some white to it here in just a little bit, once I get it drawn. Then his biscuit roll, like I have right there. Another biscuit roll right there. Where it looks like somebody opened a can of biscuits on his back. Right there. Right there. But that also shows you his little hips flying up in there where he's taken off. Oh, he's cute. Get some more of this sienna. See, this has already faded out some, so I'm getting back up in here with my color. I want to make sure it's bold and bright. And y'all, I have the best job in the world. This is so much fun. I hope you're experimenting with some paint. It's very relaxing. You can lose yourself when you're painting. You can wad up in front of an easel, not watch the news, and just enjoy watching a picture take place, watching it come alive. I recommend you try this. It's a lot of fun. And it's fun to get online. You can find pictures that are not copywritten, that are free gratis. And even if you're not selling it, it doesn't matter if it's copywritten, if it's for you. The only time you have to worry about that is if you're trying to sell. But, get on Pinterest and look for pictures. Just Google in what you want to paint, and you'll see all kinds of reference. Go get it enlarged. I usually enlarge mine to about an 8x10 so that I can see it. And you can see it real well, and just copy that bad boy. Here we go. Now, outline that little foot. This one's way over to the side. Run, Peter. He's on his way out of there. This one, I'm just kind of outlining it for me, so I'll know where it is. I kind of go all over the place. Now I'm back up here in this shadow. I do love painting. I hope to do it all my life, as long as I can see. Okay, bring his little butt down. It's kind of dark down in here. Now we'll get him a white cottontail too. The hardest part really of a painting is starting. First of all, you're probably nervous. Secondly, you've got to get scale correct. You've got to get the subject, in the right size for the canvas, getting it placed on there. As long as you've got a good eraser, don't worry about it. You can always erase. And we're getting rid of all those little dots that were around inside him just a minute ago. There's a big blue one there. Let's get some white on there and get rid of that. There we go. But once you get the scale of your piece, and you can figure out scale with negative and positive spaces, and just sort of, sketch that and sketch that. You can use chalk to sketch it if you want to. Wipe it on and wipe it off. Once you get your subject on there, then the picture gets a lot easier. A lot of my students will say, the hardest part is drawing it. Once you get it drawn on and you're okay with that, you can kind of let go and paint. Here we go. And time is going by so fast, I cannot believe we're just looking at Easter so close. Doesn't feel like we had a bad winter to me at all. I thought it was kind of nice. Not a lot of snow. Wasn't real cold. Adding some white so we don't lose those biscuit rolls. I'm going to miss my fireplace. Okay. Highlight area right here. Want him dark down here so we can see that white cottontail. So let's get that pretty dark. So I want that white to pop. We still see our brown, but I want the black kind of to dominate this side. Now, I'll work on his head just a little more in a minute too, when we get that white on his ear, etc. Now let's get on his foot. And I'm just using this same brush for most of this painting. Once you find one that you like and you feel comfortable with, sometimes you don't have to even change. Big bunny feet. There we go. Get his little foot pads dominant. There they are. Don't want this to be all the same color. So I'm going to clean my brush off real good, and I'm going to start getting some white on here. His little feet have quite a bit of white on them, especially around the edges like this. There we go. Look at that little bunny feet. Here's some more hair right up in here. Get that around his little foot pads. And here's the fun part. Let me clean out my brush real good, get into some pure white, and let's start working on his tail. And I'm just going to flippantly get some fuzz on here. Look here. This might be a good time to use a fan brush, but let's see how far we can get without it. And actually, this little bunny tail's got a little blue in it. There we go. He is getting the heck out of Dodge for some reason. Got a little brown in there. Let's get straight white. There we go. we go. I'm going to put a little fuzz around his feet too, because they're going to be fuzzy. Up in here, there's a little fuzz. And I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and then I'm going to go right back over it so that it's bold white. There we go, a little more. This is probably the cutest part of the picture, is his little tail. So you definitely want it to be bold. There we go. Now, while we're doing the white, let me squirt some fresh out here, and we want to work on his ear a little bit. And his other foot. Hey, we're getting done here. All right. Get up in here and take it and pull right up through here. This is his inside of his little ear on this side. Sit it straight and pull it. Sit it straight and pull it, just like that. And that gets his little ear. There is hair over here. There we go, there we go. Now, outline that. And you can sort of see the inside of that side of his ear. A little bit right there. Now, I'm also, while I've got white on my brush, I'm going to add a few highlights, just a few, real watery little white highlights, especially on his head, especially on his little biscuit roll right here too. Use your hand if you need to, whatever it takes. I've been known to use paper towels, saran wrap, whatever it takes to get the look you want. There we go. Isn't he cute? Now, I'm going to add a little bit of blue, because that's what this picture shows. It's just a little blue highlights here and there. So he's not quite so boring. There we go. Little blue in his tail. And I want to add, you can't really see that white for some reason in the background, so I'm going to add a little color so you can see it up through here. I want it to be real fuzzy. All right, now let's bring this down. A little bit of black. There we go. There we go, and kind of balancing him out just a little bit. Isn't he cute? Now let's bring some more sort of gray highlights right down here. And what that does is it pulls his back up where he's running off. You want to see his back kind of hunched up just a little bit. Plus it's letting my white dry on his tail, and we'll add some more pop to that in a minute. While this is all drying, let's go down into the grass. Now, this is going to be fun. My art reference just shows dark grass and some white pops, but I want to do a few colors. So I'm going to add some green. Let's do some Grinch hand green right here. Make it real springy looking. Then I'll add some pink and blue, etc. with the flowers. All right, still, look, I'm still using this brush. I don't know, it's just, I think it'll work. So I'm gonna use green and green. I'm gonna dip it in a little bit of black. And here we go. Boom. You just wanna pull it straight up. And it's a light, deliberate pull. Just boom, like this, okay? And you want one side, you want them both, you know, you want them up. He's hightailing it out of somebody's garden. Dark down in here. So I may even get solid some down in here, but you've got some of them that are bent over, like this, some of them going this way. Now, I want to make sure I get these few right here in front of his feet. Get them kind of deliberate. And you look, it's kind of starting down here, and it's going straight up like that. Oh, you know what? Guys, I just noticed I need to fill in one foot. Here we go. Pardon me. That little foot needs to be filled in before we start getting that grass on there. I don't know how I overlooked that, but I sure did. Let's get that foot filled in. There we go. Now, I'm gonna fill this one in a little more too to make it match. And while that's drying, we'll do the grass below it. Here we go. Getting senile in my old age. Black, green, green. Now, is grass black? No. But the reason it looks that way is because it's dark down here. He's in the middle of somebody's garden. And I'm even going to make it pretty dense down in here. So I'm going to get a little bigger brush and blend some of this. This needs to be a little more dense. So I'm going to take this, and while it's wet, make this a little more dense down in here. It makes it look more realistic. Here we go. See, I'm glad I went ahead and did my spots beforehand, because you don't want everything covered in spots. But the spots add a lot. Here we go. Dark, dark down in here. Really dense over here. So I'm going to get black, green, green and start making this kind of a dark area. And I'll tell you, I've said this before, but something that separates the men from the boys in art is people that aren't afraid of dark and light. Don't be afraid of dark. Don't be afraid of the highlights. They're actually what makes your painting more professional looking. Here we go. So get it dark down in here. I think people that don't, use that dark value and that light value the way they should, they're afraid. They're still kind of insecure in their painting. Don't be. Get it on there. It's just paint. This is pretty dark down here. There we go. Now we'll lighten it up with grass in front of it, but this gives the picture some depth down in here. All right, now, while that's drying, let's go back to my favorite brush, and I'm going to highlight some of this Grinch green with a little white and a little Kelly green, and we'll start doing the individual blades right in here. This is where you might want to use your white and your black, so some of them kind of really stand out. These are tall. I'm holding my brush way back here, and what that does is it helps you have a lighter stroke. If you get real close to the top of your paintbrush, it really stifles the flow of your brush and the lightness of that stroke. There we go. Grinch green. And the blades of grass are all different shapes and sizes. So we're going to go back and forth with them. Some of them look black too here. Here we go. That foot should be dry. So I'm going to go over it with the blade of grass. Here we go. Up. Up. Now, I'm going to get right under where his foot is, and we're going to go straight up, right through that bunny's foot. See, my brown is dry, so it doesn't pull. Here we go, right up through there. Because there's going to be a pretty flower right there. Then he's got quite a few growing things underneath here. And I tell you what, this grass will hide a multitude of sins too. You can get maybe a spot that you didn't cover necessarily with your paintbrush. There we go. On your bunny. Now I'm going to add some variance to some of this grass, and what we'll do is this. Add some little buds in here like this. we go. And you don't have to do anything real detailed. Just kind of add some little swishes and globs of some kind of growth here on this grass, little buds maybe. Get rid of my extra paint down here by adding some more blades. Dark, dark, Grinch green. Now, let's get up here and add some weird ones. There we go. A few weird ones. Let's make it kind of interesting. Can't wait to get in my garden. Here we go. Get some little black ones down here. And this is half the fun, these little details. You can do what you want. You could do a worm down here. You could do a snail down here for Brandon. You could do a lobster. Now you don't want to do a lobster, but you could do a butterfly. You could do anything you wanted down in here. There we go. Now, I'll tell you something I do want to do. Let me add a little bit more grass, and then I want to add a little color. My art reference doesn't have a lot of color, but it's springtime, and I want it kind of interesting. I'm going to add some more grass. It needs it. So I'm just dabbing into my green and very lightly doing some little eyelash pulls here. There we go. Now, my art reference does have some white on it, so let's do some white up in here. Some kind of a little white flower. Not a lot of detail to it, that's all right. And then underneath that little white flower, you might want to add a leaf or two just to connect it. Like this, no big deal. You don't have to be a master gardener, you're making this up as you go. Here we go. Some more over here. Some white here. Now let's do some pink. Let's do just a little pink here and there. Add some color to this. Maybe on some of those leaves that I just sort of stuck in there, do a little, I don't know what kind of flower it is. Got some kind of a little pink bud. There we go. Now, another one we can do is maybe just a little light blue, real light blue, another little kind of flower, like just kind of dab one on there like that. That's not on my reference, but you know what? It's springtime, so. And I have no clue what kind of flowers these are. White and blue, just kind of making them a little bit bigger, and I'll do a little green underneath them here in just a minute. Get your dark green and your Grinch green. And ground those. Just add something underneath them so that they look like they're part of it on purpose. Then I want to get my black again, and I want to deepen some of these up while they're dry. Deepen some of that up. Make this dark down in here. He's been in somebody's garden bad. And same way with those little pink ones that are just floating. You want to do a little dab of a green under there and just kind of ground them. There we go. Now this one's very important because it's right up around him and it's going to be seen. So we want to make sure we get that up there. A little bit around his foot. I'm using what's left over here on my palette where we did the background and just adding some more blue over in this area. Not sure what kind of flower that is either. But it looks springy, doesn't it? Kind of making it up as we go. I'm doing a little Grinch green in it. And I'll highlight some of these too here in just a minute. There we go. And at this point, you should probably change brushes, but I'm having a good time with this one, so. Highlight that so you can see them anyway. Now I want to ground those with some kind of a leaf or stem. I think we're good. Let's see, I see one little area I want to work on my bunny. While these are drying down here, a few more little white ones. Let me get up here. I see one area on him. And I tell you, sometimes it's good to get out of your seat, walk around the room. I'm gonna put my finger down so I can be deliberate, but I want to get this ear. There we go, get it more defined. Walk away from your piece, take a picture of it on your phone, and it'll tell you what it needs. It happens to me all the time. You just, you know, you think you have it down, and then you walk away from it just for a little while and come back, oh, I didn't see that. It'll tell you what you did wrong. But getting away for just a minute helps your head, your body, and it'll also help adjust maybe some of the little minor mistakes or things that you didn't see the first time around. Tell you, your phone tells you too, boy. Take a picture of it with your phone, go look at it later and you go, ugh, his head's too big. There we go. This little area. Oh, we forgot. We didn't do his little paw right here. Let's get that in. Right here, and there's one right here too. Wow, I am getting senile. I wondered why that little space was there. Here's his front paw, and here's part of his back paw where he's running away. There's his little front paw right there. This one doesn't have to be real defined because it's just kind of the back of his other one. Now, let's get some white around it so it looks kind of like the other one, but smaller. I sound like Bob Ross. Here we go. There we go. I wondered what happened to that little thing. Now I'm going to get just a little more white. Flick it up this way just a little bit so that fur is distinct. And let's just really pounce some white on that tail. There we go. Isn't he darling? Okay, Easter Bunny. There we go. Thank you guys for joining me today on the Art Corner. I think he's pretty cute. I hope you guys will try him at home, and I hope you have a happy spring. Stay creative.